Hey there, hello there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to the top 10 Cutter Degrassi Unpopular Opinions of all time as voted by Reddit. I will be reading to you the 20 unpopular opinions that you have already known about. You already know about me saying Jay is the #1 living villain in Degrassi history because, you know, Rick is the #1 villain, but Rick is dead, and that is and Rick being the #1 villain is popular opinion. Emma's clingy phase, which actually was a late replacement for one of the people that didn't really get well voting. I talked about her clingy phase and how, you know, the Rick situation caused it. Emma's internalizing things actually was the character flaw we kind of need to know about, because with the whole eating disorder thing and the Rick Murray thing, she just basically internalized everything, and it bit her in the butt later on. Paige shunning Emma after she protected Rick. I figured that Paige basically got the school to shun Emma, which pisses me off, of course. Don't believe the hype being underrated. The most underrated Degrassi episode of all time because, you know, of the two storylines. Hazel trying to protect people from knowing about her Somalian heritage, and of course the whole anti-Muslim sentiments left over from 9/11, which was 15 months before that episode aired, and of course JT and the subplot being a seamstress and facing a gender role crisis, but he gets his own back when the girls want to pay him for skirts. Also, Maya being with Miles in season 14, and basically it was because of the camp situation to try to alleviate her guilt. Emma being really triggered in season 2. The most triggered of any character in any season was Emma season 2. Claire could be close, but no. Emma had problems with her mom dating her teacher, and then the abortion thing, and then Mr. Radish in the GMO foods debate. We also talked about the season 4 deleted scenes that, you know, should have been in, and it would have given more credence to the Rick Murray storyline. Radish having the gripe against Emma. I believe he did in season 4, basically telling her stupid crusades because he was tired of her crusading. Paige was responsible for Ashley in season 2's downfall, and I think she was because Paige forced Hazel and Terry to choose between her and Ashley, and they chose Paige. Excuse me. Rick's parents should have been mentioned more in the aftermath, because we want to know if Rick's parents actually faced any criminal charges or got any settlement, if anything. Paige being with Olander in season 4 was only because of her troubles with men, because Spinner basically took advantage of her, Rick coming back to the school, and Dean getting off scot-free from the rape. Ashley in season 3 was right to talk about Manny and Craig's thing, you know, Manny having a baby and all that, because Ashley was a jilted lover and all that. Julia leaving Albert was why Craig gets beaten up all the time. I talk about, is it possible that Mr. Manning's behavior towards Craig is basically he needed a punching bag? Nick was kind of responsible for JT's stabbing, in a sense that Nick wanted Drake and Johnny to hurt JT, not to kill him, but hurt him, and possibly Nick got in trouble because of JT dying, and he may have served some jail time. Claude's suicide was needed in the Degrassi High canon because it brought a conversation about suicide and all that. It brings conversations, and that works out. I talked about Pema being the worst relationship ever, and there's a lot of relationships, you know, about Allie and Leo, and, you know, maybe Claire and Eli, I don't know, but, you know, that was the worst because of how they both wanted to cling on to someone else, and they would do anything for each other, and it was sickening. Emma and Snake being the best parent-student relationship, parent-child relationship, because, you know, Emma knew Snake for the longest time. He took care of her when she was a toddler, and, you know, that Emma and Snake had some good storylines. I mean, no disrespect to the Bandari's dynamic, or possibly Eli and Bullfrog, but no. Darcy going to Africa was not her decision. I said that I think that Darcy going to Africa wasn't her own choice. Her parents basically wanted to get rid of her because of what she sinned about in season 7. And of course, Emma's glow up. I hated that. Alright, so now it's time for the top 10. Here we go, and I start from the 6 to 10. So first off, at number 10 is Emma being a good friend to Manny but went overboard. This is the topic sentence I've been saying for a long time. Emma was a good friend to Manny but went overboard. I did this one, I think it was the 8th C duel or something like that. I kind of did a little bit of things afterwards, but I didn't make it a main focus till C duel 200, which was only a few weeks ago. But yeah, C duel 200 happened, and I knew this topic was going to be number 200. I've been planning for that. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't updated my Emma being a good friend to Manny thing. But Emma was a good friend to Manny but went overboard. You know it, I know it, everyone freaking knows it. Emma just wanted to be with Manny. It was bad and all that. Like, you know, a lot of people on Reddit say, oh, Emma being a friend to Manny was sucking. She only cared about herself. She didn't care about what Manny's needs are. She was overprotective. She was just being clingy, and she was being a bossy, you know what. I agree, in a sense. You know, Emma just went overboard. Emma wanted to protect Manny from herself, if you will. And the fact is, you know, Emma had a jealous streak. The cheerleading thing from season 1, I think it was a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of trying to be an activist. And didn't want Manny to fall in Paige's group because Paige was a mean girl and all that. Emma had the right idea, but she went about it incorrectly. Season 3, she and Manny were clashing. Emma wanted Manny to JT and not to sexualize herself so much. And Manny blows her off. I mean, Emma was decent and all that. Like, I understand. And Emma, with the whole abortion thing, I think that Emma kind of wanted to be friends with Manny again. I thought that Emma was not friends with Manny at that time with the abortion thing. But they said, yeah, they were still talking. Okay, right enough. So, yeah, Emma basically decided to do some bad stuff and to Manny and all of that. Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, Emma did take Manny in season 5 when Manny's father kicks her out for not bowing down to his advances. And I understand, because immigrant parents want the best for their children and push their children too far sometimes. But yeah, Manny was hopeless. Well, because Manny wouldn't give up her acting thing. I don't think the nudes had anything to do with it. I mean, no, like the nude photo. I mean, the video. But anyhow, Emma took her in. I think that Snake may have said something, but Emma took Manny in. And I keep thinking that Emma took Manny in only because she knew that she could control Manny. If Manny objected to anything Emma did, then Emma can throw her out. That's why she kind of had the calmness to go after Peter and all that. She kept it secret from everybody. And, you know, Manny was willing to talk. Peter was willing to help Emma, but Emma blows them off at the intervention and then has a panic attack. And unfortunately goes to the hospital. But yeah, like, Emma was upset when Manny wanted to leave after the JT stabbing thing. I think Emma felt like she was going to lose Manny and all that, and she went overboard. Manny didn't help matters by not talking about JT's problems with Emma that much. But, you know, they made up, and then that was the last time Emma basically was a bitch to Manny. She was inadvertently one in season 8 when she got Manny and Liberty to dorm with her. But it was actually set up that Emma and Manny were going to be roommates and all that. So, yeah. Yeah, poor Emma. Okay, so number 9 on the list. Got to do the numbers right. Number 9 with, well, out of the 82 votes in the 6 to 10, Emma got 7. Liberty's parents got 11, so they're number 9. So Liberty's parents were terrible with Liberty's postpartum depression. And this was from C-Duel 198. So this was about a month and a bit ago. So yeah, that was huge. One of the huge ones. And I really thought about this topic, but forgot to make it an unpopular opinion way back in the day. But then I like, yeah, you know what? Yeah. Liberty's pregnancy in season 5 was really botched. That's a popular opinion. And you know how they made it in JT's vision. But the fact of the matter, guys, is that I'm thinking about Liberty's parents being terrible with Liberty's postpartum stuff. I mean, Liberty's parents didn't really give off a good vibe, in a sense. So Liberty has her baby, and, you know, there's an adoption thing. Decides to put it up for adoption. But the child and his parents are going to head to Seattle, and Liberty's upset over it. Her parents don't help matters, saying that you agreed to this deal. Liberty then has problems dealing with that and some postpartum possibly. Doesn't even do her exam, her 2-hour exam. And her parents basically don't say, are you okay about the pregnancy? What's going on? They just basically scold her for not doing the exam and all that. And just blast her high and dry. So, you know, Liberty then decides to go into the liquor cabinet and drink her troubles away. But Derek, who was with Danny, and actually was not in his douchey phase. Not forget that Derek was a decent character in season 5 in a sense. But yeah, he says that he was adopted, and then his parents made a memory chest. So JT and Liberty do one for the baby going to Seattle. But yeah, Liberty's parents seem to not care about Liberty and all that. They're basically the suck it up buttercup and just want their kids to do well. I mean, I understand they're like they have high impact jobs and all that, but I think that they just put the pressure on Liberty and made Liberty even worse. Anyway, number 8 with 13 votes was Emma needing Sean post-shooting seed duel number 3. And this was a long time ago when I did this one, more than 3 years ago. This was actually the first time I used this intro. Oh, sorry, hang on 1 second. There we go. Colors, Degrassi, Unpopular Opinions. Yeah, that was the first time I used that intro. The first one you'll see, C-Duel 1 is when I don't have a title card, and C-Duel 2 was when I had kind of an off-put. Like the title card's different, and my tone of voice when I say Colors, Degrassi, Unpopular Opinions was different. So this was 3 years ago, and this was July 22nd, 2020. So this is about just 3+ years after I did this one. Was the third one, Emma needing Sean post shooting. I know that I should have doubled down or put an update to it. I never did, it seemed. But yeah, I know that remember at the time it was an unpopular opinion. But I mean, a lot of people scoff at Emma and all that. But you know, Emma needing Sean post shooting was huge. Now, let's not forget, in season 4, Sean wasn't involved in the Rick situation that much. Although in Time Stands Still Part 1, he basically tells Jay, after Jay says we need to get Rick back for spray painting your cars, that's all Raditch. And Sean says, yeah, but then Raditch will ask why Rick did this. And Jay, knowing that it would incriminate him, says, screw Raditch, we gotta do something about it. So he kind of does, with the Paint and Feathers plan. And then Sean walks with Toby and Emma in the hallway. Finds students running past them, they don't clue in, and then Rick points the gun at Emma for spraying his advances, saying that you toyed with me, Emma. Sean does his job and decides to talk to Rick, saying that everything's going to be okay. You know, I had a problem too, but we can work through this. And Rick says it's too late, I shot somebody. Points the gun at Emma, but Sean manages to finagle the gun and then accidentally shoot Rick in the stomach. And you can tell that in Back in Black, Emma was drawn to Sean. She gives him an elongated hug saying, thanks for saving my life and all of that. And then goes to Wasaga Beach after Sean wants to confront his parents for saying lies about him. So she goes to with Ellie. And it's like, that's weird. But yeah, Sean has to deal with his PTSD things. Emma says ancient history when Sean apologizes for everything he did the previous year. And, you know, Sean stays with Wasaga to deal with PTSD, and Emma looks forlorn in the car and then asks Jay in secret, do you miss Sean? Don't go all blubber at me, Greenpeace, Jay says, in a sense. So I think that Emma wanted Sean. And the cherry on the sundae was season 5, the preview, when Emma said in a line, she likes Peter. She says, Peter's the first boy I'm attracted to since Hurricane Sean blew through my emotional trailer park. And of course, that was the question. It's like, what Sean was she thinking about? Season 3 Sean or season 4 Sean? Because season 3, Sean, is that, you know, he broke up with Emma to go with the Candy Bandits and all that. And Emma probably wanted Sean around and all that. Wanted to destroy Sean because she wanted Sean around or something. And then, of course, season 4 is when Sean kind of left her high and dry and stayed in West Side Beach. Emma had to have known that he was with Ellie. I think she wanted to steal him. And besides, I think Emma wanted to cling on to Sean because, you know, he saved her life. If Toby had saved her life, I think she would have clung on to him, possibly. So, you know, Emma and Sean, a lot of people say are endgame. I think they are. They should have been endgame. But, you know, there were a lot of issues. They had a chance in season 6 to be endgame, but Sean left for the army, leaving Emma high and dry, and Emma was upset. Emma wanted to talk to Sean, but her correspondence didn't work. But then Sean pops in a random episode, and, you know, Emma does all that. So, yeah, I think Emma and Sean would have been a good thing. Emma wanted protection and all that. That's what I think. Okay, so number 7? Yeah, number 7 with 23 votes. Did I say 7? It was Holly J getting mad at her mom for wanting $20K for a kidney. And that was number 144, if memory serves me right. Sorry, I got it. It was 140 something. Yeah, there we go. Yep, so... Yep, sorry, there's some issues here. No, sorry about that. I've got my internet's basically wanting one thing or another. There we go. Alright, so Holly J's birth mom's despisement. June 21st, 2022. So it was a year and a month and a bit ago when I did number 144. And Holly J in season 11, was it season 10 or 11? I think it was 11. Holly J was right to get mad at her mom. Holly J needed a kidney because she had not taken her tonsillitis or something seriously enough, or strep throat seriously, and it turned into kidney problems. I don't think it's humanly possible. But anyway, Holly J needed a kidney. No one in her family was a match. And then she found a match, her mother. And then Holly J's like, what? Holly J then finds out she was adopted, and her birth mother put her up because she couldn't afford Holly J as a mother. Holly J wants the kidney. Her birth mom says, you're fine, and wants $20,000 for the kidney. And Holly J's like, why $20,000? And it's illegal. The money's the big problem. Why the money? And then the mother goes on to explain that she needs it because she needs to recover, and it takes a while, and she loses her job at the bank, possibly, to recover, and she's got 2 kids of her own. I don't know about if she's a single mom. I think she is. And Holly J says, you never learned your lesson. You gave me up because of money, and now you want money for the situation. And a lot of people are like, Holly J had no right to. The mother had the right to ask for $20,000 and all that. Like, you can't, like, ask for $20,000 for a kidney. That's illegal. Like, asking $20,000 without the kidney being played, that's different. But, holy hockey pucks. Like, Holly J had a point. I mean, her birth mom gave her up because of money and all that. But fortunately, Fiona comes in at the last minute and buys the mother's dress for $20,000, gives the money to Holly J, and Holly J gives the money and then gets her kidney. But anyway, Fiona, I think that this is the way to get Holly J to notice her. Anya did say something, but Holly J just brushed it off. Okay, and number 6, with 28 votes, winning the 6-10 vote was Shep being Principal of the Year made no freaking sense. From Season 134, which was a little while ago. 134. Yeah, some people actually ask me, well, what does that have to do with anything? And all that. It is a popular opinion. Well, not the way I do it. May 18th, 2022 is when I did it. Of course, you know, the playlist will be in the description. But yeah, Shep being Principal of the Year made no freaking sense. Like in Season 8. Like, Shep came into school in Season 8 to be principal once Hatzalakos left for Regina. I thought it would be permanent, but Hatzalakos got a I guess she got a leave of absence. I thought that Hatzalakos basically left her job, just quit because of her mother in Regina, and then Shep took the job. Shep was principal of Lakehurst, and people think that Radich was principal of Lakehurst because, and wanted Lakehurst to hurt Degrassi because of how Liberty and JT sassed him in Places Carry. But that can't be true, because if Radich gets demoted, then I think they wouldn't make him principal of any school any quickly. And I don't think Radich is that vindictive and all that. Regardless, Shep was principal in season 8. He made an impact. He got the school football team. He liked certain students, did not like the weird ones, like the gifted class. And he basically called Holly J a hot little number, and Snake scoffed. So yeah, it's like Shep favored Lakehurst students over Degrassi students, if you will. And you know, he was a rah-rah guy. And then he ends up being named Principal of the Year. It's like, wait, Principal of the Year, isn't that too early? And of course, the question on my mind is, why was he named Principal of the Year? Never mind that, you know, he got in trouble for the whole calling Claire a bitch thing. People said Claire deserved it. But this was season 8 Claire. This was not the overly whiny Claire from the middle of the Degrassi run, from like 10, 11. This is from season 8, when Claire was just this clean-cut girl who liked wearing her school uniform and had her hair tied back and wearing glasses. Anyway, regardless of that, to me it made no sense. I mean, why would you name him Principal of the Year? Because he got your school a football team? Really? But my theory is that Hatzalakos was going to win it. But because Hatzalakos left for Regina, the school board decided to give Shep the award and all that, because they didn't want to do a revote, I guess. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, it was terrible. Shep got caught. He couldn't get fired. So that's what Ali said. But he went to sensitivity training. He wasn't really that good. And then he got canned in season 9. I think because Hatzalakos came back to Toronto to deal with Peter's 2-day meth addiction. But, you know, yeah. And also for the fact that he managed to allow Jay to take a school bus, a Degrassi school bus, with minors across the border to Los Angeles. Like, how could you take a bus from Toronto to LA that quickly? It's just terrible. So yeah, so Shep being Principal of the Year made no sense at all. Okay, it's now time for the top 5. And, well, it was close. It was very close. Only 57 votes. It was close. First and second were off by 1 vote. Third place, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I kind of hated that only 57 people voted for this poll. But regardless. And none of the top 5 actually were from after 2022. The seed duel, well, there were 5 seed duels. The last number is 145, and the first number is 6. So logically, it was before 2022. So none of the new ones, none of the last 50 I did, made the top 5. Kind of bad, don't you think? Something just went poop. But anyway, alright, so number 5 was some seed duel number 50. Adam and JT deserved a better fate. Now I know it's probably a popular opinion, but the fact is, I was not happy with it at the time. And this was a long time ago when they did this one. Let's see, how far long ago was it? Oh, 2+ years. So this was December 30th, 2020. So this was the last Unpopular Opinion before 2021. Yeah, I did my first 50 in 2020, and then I guess I did 50. I did a lot in 2021. But anyway, Adam and JT deserving better fate. I mean, to kill these characters off was one thing, but you know how they did it was terrible. I mean, Adam's actress wanted to leave the show and all that. You know, Adam was transgender and played by a female on the show. And then Adam ends up dying in a texting and driving thing. I know that Degrassi wanted to do some kind of PSA on that. But to do it to a beloved character like Adam, when things were getting good for Adam in a sense by the fan base, it was horrible. Like, you know, Adam carried the secret to his grave that he was with Imogen alongside Becky. But he wanted to go back to Becky. even though that Becky came from a conservative Christian family that basically favored Luke, a rapist, over all else, because I guess Luke was a golden child because he could have been an NHL star and all that. I guess that's why. But still, Christian values. They ruined their own Christian values and all that. I bet you the dad may have got canned as being a minister. Regardless of that, yeah, Adam deserved better fate than that. It was basically the fan base saying that it's the burying your gays trope. A lot of people said, oh, what was that show? I can't remember. There was a show beforehand, but Degrassi, I think, did it first. And then JT stuff. Now, here's the problem. A few months ago, I found out that JT's actor Ryan Cooley was lying about asking to be killed off in gory style. He was actually turfed. They decided to knock off JT's character, the writers did. It wasn't Ryan Cooley's idea. I've been saying that in many videos, but oi, nata. Oi, nata. Anyway, so JT, dies being stabbed by Drake Lampley and all that. Because Ryan Cooley wanted to leave the show to go to university. Fair enough. But, I guess he wanted to after he was booted off Degrassi for some strange reason. But yeah, I think it was just terrible. I mean, for Adam, he could have went to another school that better fit transgender people. And JT could have taken an acting job in a different town, city, or even country. And be writing off that way. Writing Adam and JT deserved a better write-off. I guess everyone said it's popular. But I made the top 5, so yeah. Okay, number 4 with 8 votes in that 1-5 vote was students getting blamed for their actions in season 4. More blame. This was the first one. This was the first one I did. It was C-Duel number 1. I called it a prologue. Because I didn't know what I was going to do with this series. Per se. So, of course, it was like, what did I do? And this was on Halloween 2021 when I released this one. So yeah, C-Duel 100 was on Halloween 2021. So I did 50 Unpopular Opinions in 10 months, as it were. Regardless, it was doubling down on number 1. So yeah, lots of people deserve blame in season 4. I mean, Rick for his own doing, for his vengeance thing. Spitter should get blamed for, his bullying of Rick, and also basically playing along with Jay and all that, and having Jimmy inadvertently shot. Jay for having no stupid remorse for what he did. He said we did the world a favor. Alex should be blamed for being student council vice president and used those powers to do the painted feathers and never got caught because nobody snitched on her. Spitter, I don't think, would ever snitch on Alex, and Jay probably would have kept it quiet because he wanted a hard-on for Alex. Radish deserves some blame for, not handling the students' complaints well and just using his administrative duties and just being shallow. I know what he did to Rick was terrible, but the fact of the matter is that Rick was not straightforward. If Rick was more straightforward, Radish either would have helped Rick or said, next time, you tell me and I'll do something about it. Get me some proof. I think he wanted proof, but he never said it. Emma deserves some blame, heck, because of her Orange Ribbon campaign, although it was inadvertent. But yeah, the students should get more blame because of them bullying Rick. They pushed Rick too far. Rick was not going anywhere, and they basically weren't going to stop till Rick was out of Degrassi. I mean, it was noble because of the whole Terry situation, but yeah, they took the Orange Ribbon campaign as a way to bully Rick and get away with it. Of course, that campaign breaks off after Emma protects Rick, and, the students just wouldn't let it die off and all that. And basically, the student body avoided Rick's funeral. Oh, I mean, why would... Yeah, you don't want to go to a killer's... you don't want to go to a shooter's funeral and all that. But, I mean, I think that they just wanted... And they also wanted to avoid it for the guilt because they would have had to answer questions from Rick's family and nothing like that. And my guess is that Raj refused to go to Rick's funeral because he knew that the Murrays were going to ask questions, and Raj didn't have the questions, and he didn't know what to do. But the fact of the matter is that, The students should get more blame. I'm not saying they should get the most blame. Let's not forget that. Everyone says, oh, to get the most blame? No, that doesn't mean anything. You should get more blame. I mean, in my mind, it's going to always be Rick, then Jay, then Spinner for felony, then Alex, then Radish. Radish number 4, Alex number 5, and the students number 6. The students should be number 5, just jumping ahead of Alex. I know what Alex did was wrong, but Alex did it because of her mother's problems with domestic violence. But I wish we learned more about that, because that would have made Alex more sympathetic, I think. Alright, so number 3 on the list with 12 votes was Maya failed by everyone around her in season 14. So this was Seedule number 84. I'm actually surprised I did this earlier than I thought. Being failed at by everyone. I figured that I did it like number 145 or something. It's a high number. A higher number. But yeah. July 11th, 2021. Excuse me. So it was just over 2 years ago. I did this one. And I feel like, yeah, I talked about Maya and Miles in season 14, that Maya wanted to be with Miles and learned about Miles having his father problems, and Maya thinking, if I help Miles and his dad out, it'll alleviate my guilt about Cam. The whole Cam situation was just up in arms. I mean, Maya was a love triangle with Sig and Cam. Sig got Cam worked up and got Cam in trouble, and Maya refused to protect Cam. I guess she was worried that Sig was going to go after her. But yeah, Cam and Maya made up. Cam steals Maya's stuff. Owl Hoot wants to give it back, but Sig says stay out of her life forever. Cam takes that literally and decides to kill himself, but not before texting Maya it's over. And so Cam does something in the greenhouse. He either hung himself, slashed himself, or drank garden chemicals. Like I always say, that's a possibility, because you're in a greenhouse. They could have chemicals there. And as someone who knows about garden chemicals from working a summer at a greenery and also working with soils at Canadian Tire, I should know. And I even did that Unpopular Opinion about, Cam might poison himself. But it didn't make the top 30, which pisses me off. But whatever. So yeah, so Maya was angry. Maya said that, she wouldn't cry because Cam killed himself. I mean, that's understandable. I understand Maya's thing. I agree with her in a sense. But Maya started being more promiscuous. Her family chides her for it. And then she basically blasts out saying that Cam broke up with me over text and killed himself. And I'll never be happy again. Jeez, Maya. Lighten it up. But the fact of the matter is that Maya being failed around her was huge. Because in season 14, nobody figured that Maya's behavior in season 14 was triggered by the fact that she had nightmares about Miles jumping off the balcony or slashing himself, because she knew Cam did that. Maya wants to go get help. Her mother agrees, and then, she wants to still protect Miles, even though that it's dangerous and all that. And Miles decides to ghost her. And Maya's upset on the laptop. Sig and Zoe try to solve the problem, but Maya says, I can't let this happen again. And so she basically crashes Miles' house. Fortunately, Miles is okay, and Maya feels good about herself. And then when Miles, under the influence of weed, crashes into a car, which unfortunately was home to Dallas's girlfriend Vanessa and, the mother of his child, and with little Rocky, it was huge. Maya covers up for Miles, but then Miles tells the truth and all that. Holmesburg uses his influence to get Maya and Miles off. Her mom's not too pleased with it. And then Maya basically says that, his father, he needs help. And Mrs. Matlin says, it's okay to be concerned about a boy, but don't waste your life about it. And then the policeman says, you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. So Maya tells Miles, you got to fix this problem yourself. But then in Firestarter, Miles gets closure about his father and tells Maya, check up on me if everything's okay. And Maya smiles and says, no, you're good. I think that she was smiling at herself because she got rid of her guilt. Seemingly. Because she didn't really have symptoms in the first few seasons of Next Class from that problem. Although, that bus crash just ended up everything. But failed around her. I mean, Her family didn't clue in that she still had problems with Cam. Her friends didn't clue in because Maya's obsessive behavior about Miles was about Cam. And in fact, she was worried about losing a second boyfriend because of that. They failed her. I mean, Maya could have done better, but they failed. People failed Maya. I think they failed Maya a lot more than Emma was failed. Emma kind of failed herself. So number 2 with 15 votes was the earliest one of the top 5 that C-Duel did, was Spinner with the best redemption arc. Now you'll be asking yourself, why is this unpopular? A lot of people will be like, you know what, Spinner did have a good redemption arc and all that. Well, the fact of the matter is that, you know, this is basically Spinner having the best redemption arc. I know there have been plenty of redemption arcs. Oh, I released this July 22nd, 2020. What is it about July 22nd? But yeah, Spinner having the best redemption arc. I mean, you know, Holly J may have had a redemption arc. Lucas was going to have one, I bet, but the actor left the show and was like, damn it. Jay possibly may have had a redemption arc in season 7, being with Manny because of his bad boy behavior. I hate Jay with every bone in my fucking body, but not as much as Rick. Let's not forget that. The simple fact is that, you know, Spinner's redemption arc in season 5 was huge. Season 4, for the first 4 seasons, he was basically a bully and a smug guy, if you will. Season 4 was not his best. He basically waved his car under Paige's nose because Paige used Spinner's car to crash into Dean's car on purpose to try to alleviate her problems with Dean being off scot-free because of the rape. But the fact of the matter is that Spinner was being a massive bully to Rick, and, you know, wouldn't let Rick forget about the whole situation with Terry. I mean, Spinner had a reason to get angry because, after all, he was on that road trip when Rick had put Terry in that coma. And, you know, he saw Rick run off with blood on his hands. So he is mad. He confronted Rick and was pulled away. But the simple fact for Rick is he got lucky. Anyway, Spinner made his mission to get Rick out of the school. Fair enough. And Spinner was upset because he was upset that Jimmy, who was part of the group to get rid of Rick, actually switched sides. So Spinner and Jay and Alex decide to concoct a plan to destroy Rick at the Wacky Brain thing. Spinner does have his reservations, but Jay tells him that Alex will do her part, and they do it. And then Spinner, for some stupid reason, decides to brag about the paint and feathers to Jimmy. They have a literal fight. Armstrong breaks them up, but they don't go to the principal's office like they should. I mean, Armstrong doesn't send to the principal's office? Are you stupid? Because, you know, that deleted scene, they walk together. It's like, what? Spinner's about to be caught because in that deleted scene, he mocks Rick and then gets yelled at by Raditch. And then that's when Spinner says to Jay, Raditch knows. Now, we as the audience, if you don't watch that deleted scene, figure, what do you mean by Raditch knows? But then you can kind of figure that he's thinking that Jimmy's going to squeal on me for everything. I mean, why the hell would you tell him? You're Bregdado, or whatever, however, Bregdacchio, or whatever you pronounce it as, ruined you. Why would you do that? So anyway, Spinner feels bad about himself. Jay tries to calm down the situation, saying that, you know, Jimmy's the one behind her. Then, you know, they talk about Jimmy being the culprit, and then Jimmy gets shot. Spinner does have a bit of remorse about it. Says that, I gotta tell someone because they're gonna find out that we tricked Rick into everything. But Jay says, it's not gonna happen. And Jimmy was your best friend, either dead or alive. And all that. So anyhow, Spinner's racked with guilt. It takes him a while to actually talk to Jimmy. Well, Jimmy comes back to school after 3 months off. And Spinner finally decides to alleviate his guilt by telling Jimmy everything. And gets in trouble with the school that shuns him. And he gets expelled, rightfully so. So then season 5 happens. Spinner's put on a short leash by Hatzilakos. His friends basically ignore him. And Spinner makes it his mission to win them back. But he will do his time. He'll take his time and he will not expect them to take him back right away. So little by little, Spinner decides to build himself up. He goes to the Christian club. He meets Darcy. He feels bad about himself. Jay pushes Spinner too far in an episode. Spinner then tells Jay, "Why did I have to listen to you? If it wasn't for you, Jimmy probably would be walking." And then breaks off with Jay as a friend. And then, little by little, everyone, like Marco and Paige and Jimmy, actually do talk to him and all that. So by the end of season 5, he's got everyone back on his side. And Spinner does feel remorse for the Rick situation. Don't you forget about that. And number 1, just missing out of that by one measly little vote at vote 16 to 15. Now, here's the thing. If it was a tie, I'd break the tie. And the tie would have been, I would have found it. So anyway, this is Sea Duel number 145. So Sea Duel 145 is Emma deserves hate, but there's a reason for everything. Yeah, reason for everything she did. Not a lot of people have viewed this. This is from June 23rd, 2022. So this was a year, a month, and a few days after this. So, yeah, this is being taped on July 27th. So anyhow, Emma being overhated. Now, bear in mind, this Unpopular Opinion number 145 was before this whole Emma hating thing on Reddit in the past few months. Like, okay, people hate on Emma. Fine. I get it. I do. I seriously fucking do. But you're just, like, shitposting on Emma, in a sense. I mean, I get it. I really do. So the fact of the matter is that, you know, when I talked about Emma being overhated, it's just that, you know, a lot of people were mad at Emma for her flaws and all that. I mean, she is overhated. I mean, Craig could be the most overhated character too. Like, I had an unpopular opinion. I really hated on Craig, and it made the top 5 in 2022, but then I decided, you know what? No. I'm not going to put that as part of the polls. I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. I made a big, giant boo-boo. So that's what I did. So I decided to make it worth my while. So I'm like, you know, that's what I gotta do. So Emma being overhated. And this was from a long time ago. Like over a year ago, before everything has gone for crap, if you will. But yeah, I think Emma's very overhated and all that. Yeah, Emma was a bad person. She was judgmental, she was moody, she was whiny, she was basically a crusader that got under everyone's skin. She basically only thought about herself and not the other side of a situation. She did that plenty of times. And she was a clingy friend and girlfriend in the second half of her run. Because Emma was from seasons 1 to 9, and then by the second half she was just a shell of her former self. Like, okay, Emma did some wrong. Season 1, she got catfished and all that. And this is before catfishing was part of the lexicon. And then, you know, she internalized her problems with Jordan. She didn't know Jordan was a middle-aged man. And then that problem led to her overreacting to Liberty being touched by Mr. Armstrong. But she did tell Manny, and Manny says, I don't think you need to worry about it. But guess what? Terry and Hazel overheard, told Paige, and basically the rumor spread to school, Emma does save Liberty and Armstrong's bacon. Thank goodness for Emma. But the fact of the matter is that Emma should not have done that. But she did it to to Manny in confidentiality. And then, of course, season 1 comes with the cheerleading thing. Emma thinks it's sexist. Paige says, we have boys on our team. Sexism is not gender. It's that sexism is making them objects. And Emma thinks that it's wrong. And writes the article, and then Paige, fearing that the Spirit Squad will be kicked to the curb, tells Manny, you gotta rip off these articles and all that. Fortunately, though, the Spirit Squad stays on, and Emma does get her puff piece in. But almost ruins her relationship with Manny. And then in season 1, a very underrated episode, she gets mad at the school for quote, selling out with the morning announcements. Although Tracker, Sean's brother, says that they pay for it, and that gives computers so that Sean can get an education. Emma, in a sense, is right, but she doesn't think about the other side of the coin. There's got to be a competitive balance. Season 2, she's hated because of all her efforts to try to kind of break up her mom and Snake as romantic partners. I mean, what child would want their teacher dating their parent? I mean, honestly. So anyway, so she gets mad about that. She has her problems with Sean, in a sense. She has a problem with the whole Spike and Snake wedding because, you know, her hair was done wrong. There was a bad cake. Sean was coming to the wedding, and then the whole abortion thing, and Spike tells her, I don't want a second mistake, and Emma overreacts to it and goes to Snake and tells her that Spike wants to abort the baby. I mean, understandably, Emma gets chastised for that. But Snake says, at least someone was an adult about it. Maybe Spike would have told Snake. I bet, actually, she doesn't. But anyway, Emma almost ruins the wedding, but thankfully the wedding's on, and Emma's like, whew. Season 3, she was terrible. Oh, sorry. The whole GMO food situation with Raditch was terrible and all that, too. Now, nobody was right in this. Emma and Raditch both deserve hate for that episode. You know, that Emma for pushing the boundaries of things. Although she did say, my GMO foods thing, you know what, it's your opinion, whatever, but I'm going to fight for free speech. So she basically changes everything, and Raditch is upset and talks about Raditch. Raditch, of course, is upset that Emma is undermining him, and, well, he blames her for the food fight, but it was an inferment and all that. Nobody won in that argument. But season 3, she was unbearable. Like, she wanted Manny not to sexualize herself, and that's a concern. That's a thing of concern. But Manny thought that Emma was jealous and all that, and says that, you know, when things go wrong for you, I'm there for you, but you're not there for me when things go wrong. Emma made him vindictive. And then, of course, Emma and Manny break off as friends because Manny left Emma at a rave to have sex with Craig in Emma's bed. So, of course, they have insulted each other. Manny calling Emma a prude princess, Emma calling Manny a school slut. But the fact is that, you know, Emma was looking out for Manny, but that's terrible. But of course, and in the view of the other students and all that, you know, I talked about Emma and Manny's friendship, but the fact is the students didn't really like Emma and all that. Season 4, Emma screwed up by trying to prevent Chris and Liberty from dating. It might not have worked out, but Emma says to Manny, if Chris dates Liberty, what does that say about me? And I'm like, now you care about what people think of you? The first 3 seasons you did your crusades, you didn't care what people thought of you. Now you care about what people think of you? What is going on? So, of course, Emma gets caught in it. She tries to back up. She tries to tell Liberty these things, saying, maybe I just miss Chris. Should have said that in the first place, or you're trying to avoid trouble. But nope. She loses her friend group. She goes into Paige's friend group to try to fit in, try to destroy Rick, but her Orange Ribbon campaign was taken incorrectly. The way she wanted it was to raise money, and Rick's $500 was there. It wasn't going to buy anyone's forgiveness. It was just for the cause. But yeah, Emma gets chastised, and Paige might have had Emma spurned for that. So Emma was only hanging out with the Quiz Bowl team whenever possible, and Sean for that matter too. Like, she was seen with Sean when Rick had the gun at her head. But yeah, Emma then turned into zombie Emma for a while, and, you know, internalizing her problems with Rick and the shooting and all that. And then season 5, she becomes this boy crazy person that, you know, didn't care that Peter put Manny in a bad spot. She was upset that Manny was trying to steal Peter from underneath her nose. But fortunately, Emma did see the other side and realized Manny needs help, so she helps she helps Manny out. But unfortunately, that becomes things, and then Emma internalizes her relationship with Peter, even though it would hurt Manny and all that. Knowing it would hurt Manny, and she was just a monster for that. Being with Peter in the first place just didn't pass the sniff test. And then, of course, season 6, her problems with Sean and the whole JT stabbing and all that. Like, Emma had a right to freak out. This happened steps from her house at a party that should not have been thrown with Spike and Snake out of the house. And, you know, how would you react? Emma, I think, was worried about telling JT's grandmother everything. She was worried. And then she wanted, and Manny was told to move back in with her folks. And Emma's like, no. I want you here to help me. I need to talk about this whole JT stabbing and all that. And Manny blows her off. And to me, it's like Emma's not internalizing as she used to do. She's changed. She's turned over a new leaf. Nope, not happening. Emma then blows up and arranges for Lakehurst to get assaulted at the cheerleading competition and starts a fight. Emma gets blamed for it, gets detention, no suspension, thankfully. She pours her heart out to Snake, but Snake says that this isn't about Lakehurst, this is about Manny moving on. You got to work on being a good friend to Manny. And Emma takes that to heart and becomes kind of a clingy friend, if you will. But yeah, Emma in college is hated because of her being vanilla, bland, and just basically being clingy, wanting Manny and Liberty near her. She couldn't move on. And then when Manny and Liberty went out to do their own thing, Manny in Hollywood, Liberty in pre-law, Emma realizes she has no friends. So she chases friends instead of grades and doesn't do well and decides to drop out. And then she finds Spinner and they get married, and it was like so random. Yeah, Emma is really overhated and all that. The most overhated character, probably. I would say Craig in a sense, but yeah, Emma is so overhated. Overrated and overhated. So anyway, that's the top 10 Cutter Degrassi Unpopular Opinions. That is going to be the end of the Cutter Degrassi Unpopular Opinions type of videos. But no, that's not the end of Degrassi videos whatsoever. I will be doing Degrassiisms as I always do. And then I'm going to debut a new series probably in August, September, called the Top 10 Things I'm Doubling Down On with my Degrassi opinions. And I will be concrete, I hope. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Thanks for watching. I do.